The hippocampus or hippocamp, also hippocampos, plural hippocampi or hippocamps, ancient Greek, iota pi pi omicron kappa alpha mu pi omicron sigma, from iota pi pi omicron sigma horse, and kappa alpha mu pi omicron sigma. Sea monster 1, often called a seahorse 2. An English citation needed, is a mythological creature shared by Phoenician 3, Etruscan, Pictish, Roman and Greek mythology, though its name has a Greek origin. The hippocampus has typically been depicted as having the upper body of a horse with the lower body of a fish. Coins minted at Tyre around the 4th century BC show the patron god Melkart riding on a winged hippocampus and accompanied by dolphins. 3 coins of the same period from Byblos show a hippocampus diving under a galley. 4-5. A gold seahorse was discovered in a hoard from the kingdom of Lydia in Asia Minor dating to the 6th century BC. In the Iliad, Homer describes Poseidon, god of horses, earthquakes, and the sea, driving a chariot drawn by brazen-hoofed horses over the sea's surface. 7. And Apollonius of Rhodes describes the horse of Poseidon emerging from the sea and galloping across the Libyan sands. 8. This compares to the specifically 2-hoofed hippocampi of Gaius Valerius Flaccus in his Argonautica. Orion, when grasping his father's reins, heaves the sea with the snorting of his 2-hoofed horses. 9. In Hellenistic and Roman imagery, however, Poseidon, or Roman Neptune, often drives a sea chariot drawn by hippocampi. Thus hippocampi sport with this god in both ancient depictions and much more modern ones, such as in the waters of the 18th century Trevi fountain in Rome surveyed by Neptune from his niche above. The appearance of hippocampi in both freshwater and saltwater is counterintuitive to a modern audience, though not to an ancient one. The Greek picture of the natural hydrological cycle did not take into account the condensation of atmospheric water as rain to replenish the water table, but imagine the waters of the sea oozing back landwards through vast caverns and aquifers, rising replenished and freshened in springs. 10. Thus it was natural for a temple at Helike in the coastal plain of Achaea to be dedicated to Poseidon Heliconios, the Poseidon of Helicon, the sacred spring of Boeotian Helicon. 11. When an earthquake suddenly submerged the city, the temple's bronze Poseidon, accompanied by hippocampi, continued to snag fishermen's nets. 12. Likewise, the hippocampus was considered an appropriate decoration for mosaics in Roman thermae or public baths, as at Aquaesulis, modern-day bath in Britannia. Poseidon's horses, which were included in the elaborate sculptural program of gilt bronze and ivory, added by a Roman client to the temple of Poseidon at Corinth, are likely to have been hippocampi. The Romanized Greek Pausanias described the rich ensemble in the later 2nd century AD. Geography of Greece 2.1.7-.8. On the temple, which is not very large, stand bronze tritons. In the fore-temple are images 2 of Poseidon, a 3rd of Amphitrite, and a sea which also is of bronze. The offerings inside were dedicated in our time by Herodes Atticus, 4 horses, gilded except for the hoofs, which are of ivory, and 2 gold tritons beside the horses with the parts below the waist of ivory. On the car stand Amphitrite and Poseidon, and there is the boy Palaemon upright upon a dolphin. These 2 are made of ivory and gold. On the middle of the base on which the car has been wrought a sea holding up the young Aphrodite, and on either side are the nymphs called Nereids. Hippocampi appear with the first Oriental phase of Etruscan civilization. They remain a theme in Etruscan tomb wall paintings and reliefs. 13. Where they are sometimes provided with wings, as they are in the Trevi fountain. Catherine Shepherd found in the theme an Etruscan belief in a sea voyage to the other world. The seahorse also appears in Pictish stone carvings in Scotland. The symbolism of the carving, also known as pictish beast, or kelpie, is unknown. Although similar but not identical to Roman seahorse images, it is unclear whether this depiction originates from images brought over by the Romans, or had a place in earlier Pictish mythology. The mythic hippocampus has been used as a heraldic charge, particularly since the Renaissance, most often in the armorial bearings of people and places with maritime associations. However, in a blazon, the terms hippocamp and hippocampus now refer to the real animal called a seahorse, and the terms seahorse and seahorse refer to the mythological creature. The above-mentioned fish hybrids are seen less frequently. In appearance, the heraldic seahorse is depicted as having the head and neck of a horse, the tail of a fish, and webbed paws replacing its front hooves. Its mane may be that of a horse, or it may be replaced with an additional fin. Seahorses may be depicted with wings, and winged seahorses with a horn were part of the armorial bearings granted to Sir Sean Connery in 2018 by the Lord Lyon, King of Arms, the head of Scotland's heraldic authority. The seahorse is also a common image in Renaissance and Baroque art, for example in the Trevi fountain, dating to 1732. A winged hippocampus has been used as a symbol for Air France since its establishment in 1933. Inherited from its predecessor Air Orient, it appears today on the engine nacelles of Air France seacraft. Bronze hippocampi appear in Dublin, Leinster, Ireland on lamp posts next to a statue of Henry Grattan, and on Grattan Bridge. The English football club Newcastle United has 2 hippocampi depicted on its crest. They appear to the left and right of the shield. In the middle. Closely related to the hippocampus is the sea goat, represented by Capricorn, a mythical creature with the front half of a goat and the rear half of a fish. Canonical figures, most of which were not themselves cult images, and coins of the Korean goddess associated with Aphrodite as the Aphrodite of Aphrodisias through Interpretatio Graeca, show the goddess riding on a sea goat. 18 Brodie describes her thus. 19. A semi-nude female figure appears riding on a sea goat, accompanied by a dolphin and a triton. This is the goddess Aphrodite herself, shown here not in her distinctive local guise but in a more traditionally Hellenistic style. She is the marine aspect of Aphrodite, known to the Greeks as Aphrodite Pelagia. She rides on a fantastic marine creature with the body and tail of a fish and the forepart of a goat. This sea goat moves to the right and turns his head back to look at the goddess. This group also appears on Aphrodisian coins from the 3rd century AD. Aside from Hippocampus, the fish-tailed goats representing Capricorn, 18 other fish-tailed animals rarely appeared in Greek art, but are more characteristic of the Etruscans. These include Leocampoi, fish-tailed lions, Taurocampoi, fish-tailed bulls, or Parlocampoi, fish-tailed leopards.